Hyper-independence isn't strength. It's childhood survival on repeat. The invisible weight of being the strong one. You learned early that the safest place was the one where you needed nothing. While other children reached out, you tightened your grip on your own world, believing that self-reliance was maturity. But beneath that strength, your nervous system was learning to survive catastrophe by eliminating vulnerability. You weren't strong, you were adapting to chaos the only way a child could. And adulthood became the echo of that training. Hyper-independence often begins quietly, like a child cleaning up messes no one else sees. You told yourself, if I don't depend on anyone, no one can disappoint me. Over time, this became a shield so polished that even you mistook it for personality, not protection. You lived as if needing less meant hurting less. But the cost was enormous, and you've been paying it in silence. When you grow up being the emotional adult in the room, you learn responsibility before safety. You learn control before trust. You learn self-sacrifice before self-worth. And you carry these lessons into your relationships, trying to earn love by being unbreakable. But the truth is simpler and sadder. You weren't built to be this strong. You were pushed into it. Hyper-independence feels noble, but inside you is a child who never got to rest. That child learned that asking was dangerous, that feelings were inconvenient, that softness was punished or ignored. So now, even in moments where someone offers help, your body reacts with tension, suspicion, or shame. It's not stubbornness, it's conditioning. And here's your first permission slip. It wasn't your fault. You didn't choose hyper-independence. It chose you. But continuing to live this way, that part can be healed, slowly, gently, with truth replacing old survival patterns. Hyper-independence is socially celebrated, yet internally expensive. People admire your competence, your strength, your ability to handle everything, but they don't see the burnout hidden behind your productivity or the loneliness that grows each time you whisper, "I'm fine," while sinking inside. Survival made you impressive, but it also made you invisible. When you always carry the load, you forget what it feels like to be carried. You enter relationships as a giver, a fixer, a rescuer, but never as someone who can lean. And while people may praise you, none of that praise fills the hollow space where connection should live. Hyper-independence gives you control, but steals intimacy. You might wonder why receiving help feels unbearable. In reality, your nervous system associates dependence with danger, disappointment, or abandonment. So the moment someone gets close, you instinctively pull away. What looks like avoidance is actually your brain scanning for safety and not finding it. The danger is that hyper-independence slowly turns into self-neglect. You get so used to suppressing your needs that you lose the ability to even recognize them. You confuse exhaustion with normalcy. You confuse overfunctioning with love. You confuse self-abandonment with strength. This is how inner deserts are formed. But your needs don't disappear just because you bury them. They wait. They leak through anxiety. They rise through insomnia. They whisper in moments of quiet, asking you to return to the parts of yourself you've exiled. And healing begins when you finally listen. To understand hyper-independence, you have to return to the blueprint, the environment where needing others wasn't safe. Maybe adults were inconsistent, emotionally absent, overwhelmed, or unpredictable. Maybe you became the caretaker, the peacekeeper, the little adult. In those moments, your nervous system made a promise. I'll survive by not needing anything. This vow becomes your operating system. Even now, when someone offers support, your body interprets it as a threat, not because you're ungrateful, but because you're wired for self-rescue. You learned early that depending on others could lead to disappointment, conflict, or humiliation. So you became your own provider, protector, and parent. But the child who raised themselves doesn't simply disappear. They become the adult who apologizes for having needs. who over-explains, who feels guilty for resting, who panics when someone gets too close. You carry the child's fears inside an adult body, masking it all with competence. This is why hyper-independence feels so confusing. You crave connection, yet fear it. You want to be understood, yet hide everything. You want softness, but only know strength. You long for safety, but distrust the experiences that might bring it. Trauma creates contradictions, and you've been living inside one for years. The good news is that this blueprint isn't permanent. Trauma taught your body one way to survive. Healing can teach it new ways to live. And that shift begins with compassion, not force, for the child who is never allowed to just be a child. Being the strong one becomes a cage. People assume you're fine because you always are. They forget to check on you because you never falter. They depend on you because you don't depend on them. And slowly, without noticing, you become the emotional parent of every relationship you enter. But every time you hide your struggles, you reinforce the belief that your needs are burdens. You dim your pain so others don't feel uncomfortable. You shrink your vulnerabilities so no one has to hold them. This is not independence, it's emotional starvation. And it deprives you of the nourishment real connection requires. Loneliness hits differently when you're hyper-independent. It's not about being alone. It's about being unknown. People may stand around you, but none of them touch the deeper layers because you never let them see. And with time, the isolation becomes so familiar, you confuse it with identity. The tragedy is that your strength is both your shield and your prison. You hide behind competence because it's safer than revealing the exhaustion inside. You push through everything because the idea of collapsing terrifies you. But suppression is not resilience, it's self-exile. And your heart feels every mile of the distance. Healing doesn't begin when you suddenly become vulnerable. It begins when you stop apologizing for having needs. When you understand that needing others is not weakness, it's humanity. And it's a right you're denied, not a flaw you chose. Hyper-independence reshapes your relationships in ways you don't always notice. You choose people who need you, not people who meet you. You fall into roles: caretaker, problem solver, emotional anchor, because these identities feel familiar and safe. But they also keep you from being truly seen, loved, and tended to in return. When someone tries to get close, your instincts shift into protection. You pull back, change the subject, joke your way out, or simply freeze inside. It's not rejection, it's fear wearing confidence as a mask. You learn to measure love by how much you give, not how much you allow yourself to receive. And because you rarely reveal your inner world, partners often feel shut out, confused, or unnecessary. They want to be part of your emotional life, but you give them efficiency instead of vulnerability. You connect through competence, not closeness. And slowly, intimacy becomes an idea rather than an experience. This self-protection creates a predictable pattern. You become indispensable, but emotionally unavailable. Needed, but not nurtured. Admired, but not understood. People love your strength, but they rarely meet your softness because you keep it locked away, even from yourself. And yet, the longing doesn't go away. You want to be held, known, supported. You want someone who doesn't praise your independence, but welcomes your dependence. Healing isn't about abandoning your strength. It's about allowing space for your heartbeat too. Topic 6. The nervous system behind the armor. Hyperindependence is not a personality trait. It's a nervous system response. Your body learned to survive unpredictable or unsafe environments by staying in control. Control became your anchor, your shield, your way of preventing harm. But now, even when life is different, your body still reacts as if danger is around every corner. Your fight response might show up as "I'll handle it." Your flight response as "I don't need anyone." Your freeze response as emotional numbness. Your fawn response is overfunctioning for others. Hyperindependence is often a blend of all four, shaped by childhood and reinforced through repetition. When someone offers help, your system becomes dysregulated. Your stomach tightens, your breath shortens, your mind races. You may even feel irritation, shame, or suspicion. This reaction isn't logical, it's survival instinct. Vulnerability feels like walking into a room without armor. Understanding this physiology is liberating because it removes the moral judgment. You're not dramatic or cold or too private. You are wired for self-preservation. And that wiring can be changed slowly, intentionally, through safe experiences that teach your body a new story. Healing requires co-regulation. Being around people who feel safe enough for your nervous system to soften. It's not about forcing openness, but allowing gentleness. You heal not through willpower, but through safety, something you never consistently had. People think hyper-independent individuals are strong. They see competence, calmness, resilience. They see someone who always copes, always manages, always survives. But strength born from trauma has a different texture: sharp, brittle, lonely. It holds everything together while quietly falling apart. Strength can become an identity you feel trapped inside. You don't know how to ask for help, not because you don't want it, but because you were never taught how. You don't know what safe support feels like. You only know self-reliance, even when it's killing you. And praise only reinforces the mask. It's painful when others admire you for the very thing that's burning you alive. They applaud your independence, unaware that it's woven from fear, not confidence. They call you reliable, unaware that reliability was your childhood survival job. They call you strong, unaware that strength was the only version of love you were allowed to offer. The world rarely understands the cost of your resilience. They don't see the sleepless nights, the trembling in your hands, the loneliness on your drive home. They don't see the exhaustion accumulating in your bones. They don't see the child inside you whispering, "I wish someone would take care of me for once." The truth? You don't owe anyone the image of invincibility. Real strength is the courage to rest, to soften, to be human. To let someone meet you beyond the armor you never chose but learned to wear. Letting someone in requires surrendering the illusion of control. For most people, that's uncomfortable. For hyper-independent adults, it's terrifying. Control kept you safe when the world around you was unpredictable. But now, in healthier environments, that same control keeps you isolated. Vulnerability feels like opening the door to old wounds. If someone knows your needs, they could fail you. If someone knows your fears, they could use them. If someone knows your heart, they could break it. Your body remembers the cost of trusting the wrong people, so it preemptively rejects the right ones too. The moment you start to rely on someone, alarm bells ring inside you. You feel exposed, unanchored, out of rhythm. You wait for disappointment before it even arrives. And so, you pull back, not because you don't care, but because caring makes you feel unsafe. Love is a risk your body hasn't learned how to tolerate. The irony is that true connection requires the very thing trauma teaches you to avoid: shared vulnerability. Without it, relationships become transactional, useful, stable, but emotionally empty. You give endlessly, but never let anyone hold your weight. The first step toward healing, this is small. Let someone do one thing for you. Let a friend help. Accept a compliment without minimizing it. Say, "I'm tired." Say, "I need a minute." These micro-vulnerabilities teach your system that support is survivable and maybe even soothing. "I got it" becomes a reflex long before it becomes a burden. You say it automatically, even when you're tired, overwhelmed, or silently breaking. You carry responsibilities that were never meant for one person, but the habit formed before you understood you had a choice. And now, adulthood feels like an endless continuation of the emotional labor you began in childhood. People don't notice your fatigue because you don't show it. You present competence even when your body is begging for rest. You hold yourself together so tightly that no one sees the cost. Your strength is so convincing that even you forget you're struggling until you collapse in private. This private collapse is the reality hyper-independent adults know too well. The quiet sobbing after helping everyone else. The shaking hands after pushing through another crisis. The emotional crashes that come at night when no one is watching and no one can judge. These moments reveal the truth behind the facade. Exhaustion becomes your baseline. You function through burnout so long that you stop recognizing it as burnout. You mistake emotional numbness for calm. You call dissociation focus. You treat your body like a tool, not a home. And every time you override your limits, you reinforce the belief that rest is unsafe. But no one can live indefinitely in survival mode. Your body will eventually ask for what your mind has avoided: gentleness, slowness, support. Healing begins when you dare to imagine a life where you don't have to carry everything alone. Hyper-independence creates a strange kind of loneliness. Everyone depends on you, but no one truly knows you. People come to you for help, advice, stability, but rarely to offer care. You've become the emotional shelter for others while living without one yourself. You're surrounded yet unseen, connected yet untouched. You learn to bond through usefulness rather than vulnerability. So relationships form around what you provide, not who you are. You're praised for being strong, reliable, unshakable, but these compliments feel hollow because they celebrate the persona, not the person. The real you remains hidden, longing for someone who sees past the armor. Being needed can feel like love, especially when you're used to neglect. But over time, it becomes a substitute that never satisfies. You realize people know your strength, but not your fears. Your competence, but not your tenderness. Your resilience, but not your exhaustion. It's a life lived behind one-way glass. This loneliness hits hardest during moments of quiet birthdays, bad days, nights when you wish someone would ask how you're really doing. You don't want grand gestures. You want someone who listens without you having to prove your pain is valid. Someone who remembers you exist beyond your utility. Healing begins when you allow relationships built on reciprocity, not performance. When you stop auditioning for love and start revealing your truth in small, brave increments. Being known is risky, but being unknown is unbearable. Your healing doesn't begin with forcing vulnerability. It begins with reparenting the child who feared it. That child learned to protect themselves because no one else consistently did. Their independence was not empowerment, it was abandonment wearing responsibility. And now, your adult self must learn to become the caregiver they never had. Reparenting is the process of giving yourself what you were denied: validation, protection, comfort, presence. It's telling yourself, you're not a burden, even when it feels foreign. It's learning to speak to yourself with warmth instead of criticism. It's offering softness where there used to be only pressure. This work is uncomfortable because it goes against everything you're trained to believe. Your body may resist rest. Your mind may resist gentleness. Your nervous system may reject comfort as unfamiliar. But that discomfort is a sign you're entering new emotional territory, one that's safer than your survival instincts assume. Reparenting doesn't erase your hyper-independence. It transforms it. You begin noticing your needs without shaming them. You start asking for help without spiraling into guilt. You learn that support is not a threat but a resource. Over time, your system rewires itself toward connection instead of isolation. And slowly, the child inside you begins to exhale. They begin to trust. They begin to believe that they no longer have to carry everything alone. That belief is the beginning of freedom. Trust is not a leap, it's a series of micro decisions. For someone with hyperindependence, even small acts of reliance can feel monumental. Letting someone drive, letting someone cook for you, letting someone witness your tiredness. These moments teach your nervous system that support doesn't equal danger. The first step is identifying who feels safe, not perfect, not flawless, but consistent. Safe people don't rush your vulnerability. They don't punish your hesitation. They don't shame your needs. They show up in small, reliable ways until your body learns it's okay to unclench around them. You don't have to share everything at once. Start with honesty in tiny doses. I'm overwhelmed today. I could use a little help. That hurt my feelings. These small truths build relational muscle. They create moments of co-regulation where your nervous system softens because someone else is calm. Trust also requires boundaries. Boundaries protect you from giving too much, too fast. They teach you that connection doesn't require self-abandonment. They help you stay present instead of retreating into shutdown or overfunctioning. Boundaries are the scaffolding that makes vulnerability sustainable. With time, you'll experience something your childhood never offered: support that doesn't collapse, care that doesn't cost you safety, connection that doesn't erase you. And in those moments, you'll realize trust is not weakness. It's relief. One of the deepest wounds behind hyperindependence is guilt for needing rest, support, comfort, or understanding. As a child, your needs were ignored, punished, or treated as inconveniences. So you learned to shrink them, hide them, or deny them completely. But the guilt was never yours to carry. This guilt follows you into adulthood like a shadow. Asking for help makes you feel selfish. Setting boundaries makes you feel cruel. Admitting exhaustion makes you feel weak. Every need becomes a negotiation between what you feel and what your childhood taught you to fear. A conflict is exhausting. But your needs were never wrong. They were unmet. And unmet needs don't disappear. They resurface as anxiety, resentment, burnout, or emotional distance. Your body remembers what your mind tries to erase. You deserve care as much as anyone else. Letting go of guilt requires rewriting the script. Instead of "I'm a burden," you practice saying, "I'm human." Instead of "I shouldn't need this," you say, "This is valid." At first it feels awkward, even embarrassing. But every time you choose self-compassion, you weaken the chains of old conditioning. Healing begins when you stop apologizing for being alive. When you accept that your needs don't make you weak, they make you real. And real connection can only happen when you dare to show the parts of you that crave support. Softness feels dangerous when it was never modeled for you. Vulnerability feels like surrender. Letting go feels like losing control. So you tighten, push, perform, perfect believing that pressure keeps life predictable. But pressure only keeps you lonely. And the softness you fear is actually the doorway to connection. Softening doesn't mean collapsing. It doesn't mean abandoning your strength. It means allowing space for your humanity alongside your resilience. It means saying yes to rest without shame, yes to support without panic, yes to emotions without treating them as threats. Softness is permission, not weakness. Your adult self must learn the difference between the past and the present. In childhood, softening could have been dangerous. It exposed you to unpredictability, criticism, or neglect. But now, in safer environments, softening is what allows your nervous system to heal and recalibrate. You deserve to live in a body that isn't always bracing. You can practice softening in small, grounded ways. Intentional breaths, slower mornings, unclenching your jaw, asking for a hug, admitting you're tired. These gentle acts send a message to your body. You don't have to fight everything alone anymore. In the end, softness becomes strength, the kind that doesn't require armor, only honesty. You don't lose yourself when you soften. You return to yourself. Healing from hyperindependence is not about becoming dependent. It's about becoming free. Free to choose connection instead of isolation. Free to rest without guilt. Free to receive love without suspicion. It's about reclaiming the parts of you that trauma taught you to suppress. Living unarmored requires courage. Not the flashy kind, but the quiet, daily kind. Telling the truth about your feelings. Letting someone witness your tears. Allowing disappointment without shutting down. Trusting that conflict won't destroy you. These acts of courage rebuild the muscles that trauma weakened. Your armor protected you. It saved you. But now it's heavy. It isolates you from the very nourishment you crave. And letting it go doesn't mean betraying the child who wore it. It means honoring them by giving them a life where they no longer have to be on guard. Freedom is not found in self-sufficiency. It's found in reciprocity, in safe relationships, in community, in letting your heart breathe instead of carrying the world. You don't have to perform strength anymore. You can embody wholeness. And wholeness makes room for everything. Your wounds, your wisdom, your softness, your boundaries, your fears, and your longing for connection. This is the courage of living unarmored. There comes a moment in every survivor's life when the old strategies stop working. When the armor that once protected now suffocates. When the self-reliance that once saved becomes the barrier between you and the life you ache for. And in that moment, something shifts. You feel the invitation to come home. Coming home is not an event. It's a slow returning, a thawing, a remembering. It's the soft voice inside you whispering, "You're safe now." It's letting your shoulders drop after years of holding the world. It's realizing you no longer need to be the strongest person in every room. And as you unclench bit by bit, you discover that strength was never the goal. Belonging was. Connection was. Safety was. The things you needed the most were the things you learned to fear. But you can unlearn that fear. You can rebuild. You can begin again. So here's the truth you deserve to hear from the very beginning. You don't have to do this alone. You were never meant to. Now I want to ask you, gently but honestly, when did you first realize you were living life as the strong one?